Welcome back to this week's episode of my show From Idea to Impact, the show that explores the journeys of entrepreneurs turning their ideas into real world change. This week, we have a special episode. I brought in none other than Patrice Holiday. She is the CEO and principal of DiversityNOW, and she's also the CEO of The Woman Within You. So Patrice, thank you for coming in this week. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Listen, it's a pleasure to have you. Those backstory, I'll give you a little backstory, like I just talked to her. It took me a while to try and track her down, even though we know each other. You know, I went through my phone, I'm like, wow, I got her number right here. I could have texted her the whole time, which is crazy. But we're here tonight, and this show is for you. So thank you for joining us. If this is your first time watching, I'm your host, Quentin McDougald. I'm the founder of the Nothing But Web Entrepreneurial Network. I'm also the CEO of Nothing But Web, where we specialize in web design and business consulting. So before we get started, Patrice, can you tell us a little bit about both your businesses, The Woman Within You and DiversityNOW?
Sure. So let's start with The Woman Within You. So things kind of happen to me by accident. Whenever I tell people that, they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So one day I was feeling very, very down. And I was just like, am I the only person feeling like this? Am I the only mother, wife, career woman that's just feeling down, feeling like I had no purpose? Yeah, we go to work every day, but I truly felt like I had no purpose. And so I started an online forum called The Woman Within You to explore how we are as women from within. So that kind of merged and branched. Again, it was just an online forum for us to just talk about our feelings as being a wife, mother, and having a career and trying to balance it all. And it turned into a business because I started to host events. I started to do a lot of women's empowerment work under this umbrella of The Woman Within You. And so that started in 2018. Again, just birthing out of just thinking that I had no purpose at all and just knowing that I can't be alone in this. And so I would host events for women and the men were like, wait a minute, what about us?
That's true. That's true.
And so I'm like, well, I can't do men's empowerment because I'm not a man. So I can't speak to your scenarios, but I can refer you, right? That birthed DiversityNOW. So,
did not know that.
Right.
Did not know that.
So, DiversityNOW, people always ask me for resources. So they say, hey, do you know somebody who could do my resume for me? Or can you take a look at my resume for me? Or can you come and speak at this school to these students? And I'm always like, me? And this started years ago, years and years ago. And, you know, it's so interesting that you're on a path and you're on a trajectory that you don't even know you're on.
That's the beauty of it. That's the
beauty.
It is.
It's the beauty of it.
You don't realize it until it's there.
Yes. So DiversityNOW is truly consulting on career and empowerment and workshops for teens and kids so that they can find out who they are and that they have a place in this world. And so I have those two organizations that I absolutely adore and that are my babies.
Wow, that's an amazing story because like you said, most things, it starts off, you're already naturally doing it. And then sometimes we just get pushed into it, you know? So that's outstanding to hear about that. I didn't know that that's the reason why you started the DiversityNOW is to help everybody, because I know I watched you as you continue to build it up and, you know, as a male and just like, hey, what about us? So I'm glad DiversityNOW is something that speaks to us. So thank you for the introduction. And now we know why we're here. So my first question for you is, what inspired you to start both The Women Within You and DiversityNOW?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I just felt like I had no purpose at all. I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was just like, why am I here? And I can't be the only person to feel this way. And so again, that's how The Woman Within You was birthed, just by an online forum, just by me saying, what if I started a group and we just talked about how we're feeling inside and what makes us who we are, other than being a mother, other than being a wife, other than having our career, because, you know, sometimes you get lost in that. Yeah. You know, so that's really the story, you know. And then again, diversity now is really just, you know, having a place for everyone because we belong somewhere, right? Especially in the workplace, especially in the community, especially in the school systems. People feel like they don't have a voice. And so I'm going to give you the tools to feel like you have a voice. So whether that's interview skills, I've held workshops for interview skills for everyone, resume workshops. I go out to schools and talk to high school students and early college experience students. I've even been to the elementary school to talk to fifth and sixth graders about what do they want to be when they grow up? Because everyone nowadays says, "Oh, I want to be a social media influencer,
YouTuber, all that
right?"
stuff like that. Yeah,
that's the new thing, right? And okay, that's fine, great. What are you doing to get yourself there now? And so diversity now is just working with our people, our biopic people, our people of color, to let them know that they have a place.
Listen, that's amazing because myself working in the school system for the amount of years I have, I've seen the transition, you know, when you're around a little bit, you know, students used to be able to have, or preteens, kids, whatever we want to call them, they used to be able to have conversations. Now it's just like this. They're just all on here. They're looking down. So for you to be able to actually reach them, it's amazing. What is one or two challenges that you had starting both businesses?
Money.
Money. Okay, talk about that. That's every entrepreneur's
money. It takes money to run a business. It takes money to have an online platform. You know, you're starting from square zero, as I like to say. You're starting from scratch. And so where am I going to get the money to host these events that I started with Women Within You? Mm-hmm. How am I going to get additional resources, grants, to be able to host these events? And so for me, that's the biggest challenge is getting grants, getting resources. And, you know, I've thought about going nonprofit for the Women Within You and Diversity Now. But my challenge with that is I've seen someone get kicked off their own organization by their board.
Talk about it.
And that didn't appeal to me. I don't know if that would happen to me because I'm so passionate and so, you know, focused on the mission, vision, and values of these organizations. But that didn't appeal to me too much. So I did go through the motions. I spoke to who I needed to speak to see if I can even try to make this a nonprofit. But I decided to keep them both as LLCs. Okay. Right? Number one, so I can pass something down to my children. And number two, because it just didn't appeal to me to be nonprofit. So getting grants is not impossible when you're an LLC, but it is definitely a lot harder because those companies, those bigger companies that give money to, especially people of color and Black-owned businesses, they kind of want you to be an LLC, a nonprofit, so that they can write those expenses off.
Exactly. Yep. It's so, like they're willing to give the money, but we need to be able to get out. How are we going to get this money back?
Yes.
And, you know, so, you know, and a lot of times some of the people that you can get a grant funding, they like to see the community, which brings me to my next question. So what is your goals or what have you been doing to impact the community with both your businesses?
Yeah. So I've done a lot. I've done a lot with the Women Within You more than Diversity Now, because Diversity Now started in 2021, but the Women Within You has been around since the beginning of 2018. And so I host a Women's Empowerment Scholarship event every year. Obviously, we had to take a hiatus during the pandemic. And so we are back in 2024 to host that scholarship brunch. And this year's theme is called Speak Up. It's using your voice. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed in 2024, everybody's starting to speak up. And so how fitting that this year's event will be themed Speak Up. But I've held 3 brunches now. We've given away $2,500 in scholarships.
Ooh, okay, all right,
yes. Okay. Yep. And we don't just give scholarships to scholars.
Okay.
Right. The Belinda D. Price Memorial Scholarship, I founded in 2018 to my mentor. I had a childhood friend and her mom was really a mentor. Every time I was at her house, she would bring people in and she would help them find jobs. And she would give them resources, food, hey, you can go talk to this person. And I naturally do that.
Yeah.
And right. And so she passed away and it had a major impact on my life. And so I wanted to start that scholarship fund in her honor. And so again, we don't give the scholarships to our top students because they always get everything. What about those middle of the road students that deserve an opportunity?
And that's good. That's good. You aim for that crowd because sometimes them just getting the scholarship will, who knows what it will activate within them to go off to be great. So that's a great aim. So, question about the brunch: is it women's only, or can anybody attend?
Drum roll, please.
Okay.
This year's brunch is a collaboration between my two companies, The Woman Within You and Diversity Now. All are welcome. It's a community event.
And when is it?
It is going to be October 12th, 2024 at the Artist Collective in Hartford, Connecticut.
Perfect. Say that one more time. It's going to pop up on the screen.
Okay. It's going to be Saturday, October 12th, 2024 at the Artist Collective in Hartford. And our guest keynote speaker is R&B legend from the legendary group, the original OG group, Destiny's Child, Latavia Roberson.
Wow, look at that. Listen, I'm not even going to ask you how to pull it off because I know you're a hard worker and behind the scenes you work. So I'm going to leave that surprise. I'm going to let you unveil that announcement later on because once the show airs, people are going to be like, oh my goodness, it's here. So I'll let you explain how you went behind the scenes and pulled all that stuff together on your own, on your own. I don't want to give away those tips. So for those of you that read the different bios and everything we put out for her, she has many accolades. So one of the accolades that maybe it's your most proud accolade because you have a lot of them, but as an associate director at UConn School of Social Work, how has that experience with organizational development influence your entrepreneurial values?
Yeah, so it's all about connections. It's all about networking and who you know. Right. So my day job, as I like to say, at UConn has allowed me to meet a variety of different people and just talking to people, not even discussing work, but just being human beings. They may say to you, I know something. I heard you're doing an event, or I heard you have this platform. I think I know a grant for you, or I think I know somebody who can help you. So it's all about networking. And so I think that to me has a significant effect on my entrepreneurial journey.
So networking.
Yes.
So within the Entrepreneur Network, we will have our first networking event. So I'm gonna put that information out. So you're the first person I'm letting know that we're bringing all our guests from all the shows, all the people on the platform. We're gonna have our first event this year, and I'm excited about it because we hit the COVID peak and everything, and so October, that's around my birthday time. I haven't picked a particular time, but it'll be sometime in the fall that we'll have it. So not only are you an entrepreneur, you're also a podcast host. What's your podcast? What inspired you to start the podcast from this?
Again, just having conversations and just talking to other people, women only, we're having on my podcast thus far. So I started that so let me back up.
Okay.
I started that podcast in 2017.
Wow, okay.
So this is before everybody got a microphone.
Yeah.
I call myself the OG podcaster.
They were there. Social proof. I saw it.
Yeah, so I started the podcast at the end of 2017. I just was having a conversation with someone that I was mentoring. Like, I would consider her a girlfriend, but she was younger than me. And we were talking about different topics. And I was like, I should probably record this because this is good. She was giving some insight into her life, and I was sharing my story too. And so that's kind of like how the podcast evolved. And sometimes there's a guest, sometimes I'm talking about a topic that is relevant to women, relevant to motherhood, relevant to career. I talk about my being a single mother, or how I practiced celibacy until I got married. So just topics that people probably don't talk about often, or they only talk about with their girlfriends. But I brought the mic. I turned the mic on.
Listen, it's all insightful. It's not specifically to women, because us guys, we can get some insight, information on dealing with women. It's open for everybody. The focus is for women, but anybody can listen to it. So that's
I
awesome.
agree.
So you have the accolades, you have the two businesses, you have the podcast, and you're also a filmmaker. You talk about the films you've made. You've done a lot. So talk about the films you did. Black Voices Matter. You did Purpose Over Pain. Talk about those. What inspired those?
Yeah. So just like everyone else in the world, I watched that tape of George Floyd,
Oh man.
and it broke my heart. But I also have people who have gone through similar experiences. I've experienced racism, ageism, etc. And I just wanted our fellow brothers and sisters to have a voice. And so that particular film, Black Voices Matter, is a collection of stories from people sharing their experiences as a Black person. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
I have a section called What is in a Name? And in What is in a Name, it's people with unique names that we probably love that are always being butchered. People are saying that's ghetto, and so they're sharing their stories about their name and their heritage behind their name and how much they love their name, but they've been ostracized and criticized because of that name. We also have a cameo from a former state rep who did a poem at one of our Black Lives Matter rallies in 2020. And so he gave a poem of all the people that we've seen since Trayvon Martin, Alton Sterling, etc. So he did a rendition of that poem in my film. We also showed positive images of Black people. That film actually went to the New Haven Film Festival. I did not win, but at least I tried. Yeah. So, it's a film. It's available on the UConn School of Social Work website because they loved it. And so they decided to put it on their website. And it's still there to this day. Again, it was made in 2021. Right. So if you want to view that film, you can go to the UConn School of Social Work YouTube page and website, and you'll see it there. Perfect. And then Pain Over Purpose, we just went through one of the most traumatic experiences ever, right? We were shut in, we were isolated, we didn't know up from down. We didn't know if we were gonna still be here. We didn't know anything about this, new virus. And so Pain Over Purpose is a mental health video. Okay. Right? And its main aim is to show that no matter what you go through, no matter what pain, what struggles you go through, you have a purpose in life. And again, UConn loved it. Put it on the YouTube page. Listen, so it's there as well.
You're a UConn movie superstar. Look at that.
I don't know about that, but
so they're both available on the UConn social work website. Did I get that right?
Website and YouTube page, yes.
And YouTube page. All right. So watch those after you watch this episode. You're gonna jump over there, give her some views over there. Watch. So author, podcaster, business owner, entrepreneur, mother. I think we got all the things so far. Anything I'm missing?
I don't think so.
Filmmaker. Okay, listen, it's gonna pop in your head like, wait, I do this too. So speaking about going back to your business with entrepreneurship, what are some current projects that you're working on either one of your businesses?
Yeah, so I focus right now on developing programs for the school system. Okay. So I have a variety of programs depending on age, but I'm focusing right now on those 5th and 6th graders because I feel like those are the performative years, right before they get to that middle school age. We know 7th grade is a little rough.
The worst. 7th grade are monsters.
So trying to get into the school system, I was able to do one of my programs at one of the local elementary schools in Hartford. Okay. But I would like to take it all over the state.
Listen, we not the state. We're gonna go the country. We're going to the
nationwide.
we dream big. We make an impact. That's what the show.
I received that.
Nationwide. Listen, we're never gonna box ourselves in. We're gonna go nationwide. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's under the umbrella of Diversity Now. Okay. And I mentioned that the Woman Within You is having its big scholarship event in October. So that takes up all of my energy on that front, planning and curating an amazing event that's for the community. My goal is always to make things free, but we know yesterday's price ain't today's price. So,
Not today's.
no, right. So we writing those grants. We're doing everything that we can to try to make it very, very low cost. I always try to make things low cost anyway, because even if I have to like take a hit, and I know all business advisors say, no, don't do that, don't do that. But I would rather the community come in and get something out of it than to make a profit. I'm gonna just be honest on that event, because it's a scholarship.
It makes sense. If you're planting these seeds in the community, who knows what they'll grow later on.
Right.
So
right.
I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying. So those are two great projects. If anything I can do to help, let me know. I'm around. You know that. You know how to get in contact with me. One phone call away. So, as we help each other and network out anything you got going on, I want to show up. I want to be present for those things and watch you grow and go nationwide with everything that you do. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. And likewise.
So my next question, and almost the last question, this has been really good so far. We got, sad we got to wrap a little bit. So with both businesses, we talked about the different endeavors that you have. What's your ultimate goal? Your ultimate goal to make an impact in the world? Because as I said, we never want to box ourselves in just to our community or our own friend group or our niche. We want to put everything out there to the world because everybody needs something that we're offering. So we want to be able to provide that service for us. So what's your goal to make an impact?
Absolutely. And, even though they're two separate entities, two separate businesses, I have the same goal. And that's for people to know who they are, recognize their strengths, their talents, know that they have a place in this world, that they have purpose, that they can do anything they put their mind to. Affirmations, I'm big on affirmations, right? Mm-hmm. That they're important, that they're smart, and that no matter the dream, no matter how big or small, they can accomplish it.
Wow. Okay. So affirmations. I'm big on affirmations too. So if we can inspire anyone that's watching this right now, I hope we're doing it. So for those viewers those that come every week, I appreciate it because I've just seen these numbers grow in a different amount of people that's been watching. We like to end our show with our special guest. Can you give us 2 words or 1 word? What's something that you can leave with the audience so that they can go out today after watching this and turning this off to go out in the world to make an impact? What's 1 or 2 words that you want to leave them with?
1 or 2 words?
It could be a phrase. I'm gonna make it look nice in the video.
I got you. Yep. Speak what you seek until you see what you have said.
Ooh, say it 1 more time.
Speak what you seek until you see what you have said.
Wow. I think that might be the best one yet. I like that. That's the best one. And that ties right into Speak Now, which is the year 2024. So, Patrice, anything else you want to leave the audience with before we end our wonderful conversation? This has been amazing tonight.
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story. And thank you for everything you're doing. From idea to impact is powerful, right? Because everybody has ideas. How are you going to execute them to impact our world? So thank you so, so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Before you go, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find the businesses. I'm going to make it look nice on the screen for you.
Okay. You can follow me on all social media sites at DiversityNOW. You can also find me at The Woman Within You, thewomanwithinyou.com, and DiversityNOWSolutions.com.
So follow her, watch the movies, pick up the journal. You didn't talk about your book. You're an author too.
I am.
I'll let you just give 30 seconds about your book. Go ahead. You're an author too. See, I told you it was gonna be something we forget.
Again, just putting pen to paper during the pandemic and just thinking about all the things that was going on inside of me. It is a book of affirmations. It is a book. It's called The Woman Within You Must Thrive. And it's a book of affirmations, short stories, some stuff about my life, not a lot, but some stuff about my life and inspiration for everyone. And it also, at the end of each passage or story, there's an affirmation for you to repeat for 21 days. And I chose 21 days because it takes 21 days to build a habit.
There we go. So, author, entrepreneur, filmmaker, community advocate, child advocate in the school systems, and key driver of the future. I love it. So, with that being said, Patrice, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for watching this week's episode of From Idea to Impact. Everyone, have a great night.